Okay, now we're on. Oh, good. Juliet just joined too. Jen Yates, hi. What's up, girl? Okay, so I do have a PowerPoint presentation, but we're going to hear from Kayron first, who just came back from her first summit. She's got a little perspective to share with us. And then I'm going to run through a few of the slides. I'm not going to go into huge detail, but I want you guys to at least know the timeline and what's coming down the pipeline. And then Amanda Musser is going to share a couple things with us. And then I'm going to roll it over to our newest diamond coach on our team, Stacey Brittian, and she's going to run over a couple things for us. And then I'm going to have Alicia sort of close us out of the business part of it. And then I'm going to end with our team goals so that we are all on the same page. So without further ado, Kay, who drove in from her hometown in Indiana to meet us at Summit, I'm going to turn it over to you. And keep talking. I'm just going to go get my phone so I can Instagram story this stuff.
Okay.
All right. It's all
Okay. Ready? Okay. With this being my first summit, I want to bring to you guys the approach that it looks like to me before I began. So prior to deciding to go, the thing that I thought was I had doubts. And the funny thing was is that I did not intend to go. I was invited by a friend here in my hometown to go, and I chose to go with her after some thought. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? When I go there, what was it that I wanted to do, and could I fit in? Because it's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming when you start thinking about the fact that you're going to be in the presence of, and I say 25,000. There may have been more than that. And so the decision to go was based out of fear, but I decided to beat the fear and go. And so that takes me to the next point, deciding to go to the summit. So when deciding to go to the summit, I had no clue what I was doing. I had absolutely no clue what the summit was going to be a part of, even what it was about. And I can tell you guys that when I initially started doing this, I wanted to be a part of something bigger, but I didn't know what the something bigger was. And it's really hard because all of you guys that I have met have touched my heart. And I am tendered by your love and your support, and you're caring for me, and you're carrying me through something that I didn't even know what I was doing. And so the thing that I did was, when you decide to go to the summit, the first thing you have to do is buy the ticket. And then the next thing I would say to those of you who have never been is hotel reservations. Please get to your coach, and wherever she's staying, be with her in the presence of all them. I was not fortunate enough to do that because I was not set up by myself. I was set up by someone else. But I guarantee you next year, I will be with everyone. So that's the thing I suggest that all of you do is to, first thing you do, buy that ticket. It's ready now. Buy it now. Get your hotel reservations now. And then going to the summit. Be present. Be there. They have workshops. They have general sessions. They have team events. And the thing that I did was I went early enough to where I could go in and I could tour the area, the site that I was staying at, the buildings and everything, so that I was somewhat familiar with it. And I would say to take notes. You have a phone, you can take pictures, and I've got tons of those of all the overheads. You can write notes on your phone, whatever you do. But it is, there's so much information that you want to grasp it all. And sometimes you can't do it. So when you come back, you've got all this information. And that's the last point that I want to bring out is coming home. When all of this is done and you've had this amazing, just amazing, you come home, pour it out to others. I mean, I found today that just getting on here and doing what Tracy has suggested, that we calendar everything, our time through this week and on in, it makes a big difference. And keep pouring into others. And personal development, it is priority. And I am telling you, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. So the belief has to start within you. And then after you're home, rest, refresh, refine, and renew yourself. And one more thing, your band that you get when you go, make sure you don't lose it like I did, because that is very important in getting into all the halls. And I wanted to go in the last day to the core, and I couldn't because I didn't have it. So I actually used my phone where I had my registration. I was able to get in some of the rooms. But you guys, Tracy, I like that one too.
Oh yeah, it's a good flavor.
But anyhow, the thing that I would suggest to anyone that has not been to the summit, go, go, go. It is a first-time experience, and I will never not go again. I don't care if I never rise beyond where I am. I will always go, because I'm learning, I'm building me, I am touching lives. In just the 2 or 3 days that I have been back, I have people, they have not come to me yet in terms of coming up on me, but they're just wanting to know things. They're asking, well, what are you doing? I just see you all the time on there. And I'm 66 years old, people. I am 66 years old. And I'm loving this. I'm loving what I do. And thank you, Tracy, for believing in me and all you sweet people. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Kay. Appreciate it. Love hearing what you have to say. And it was so amazing to meet you in person. That's one of the best things, is being able to like wrap your arms around people that you only know on Zoom calls. It's a totally different ballgame when you get to do it in true life. So thank you for coming. It was awesome. Okay. Amanda, let's move over to you. It was also Amanda's first summit. Where'd she go? There she is.
Hey everyone. So my name's Amanda Musser, and this was my first summit. This was also my first airplane ride with the baby. So it was a lot of firsts for me. But you know, when Tracy first mentioned the idea of summit, my head was spinning, because I knew that, you know, I'd still be breastfeeding, my baby wouldn't be eating solid foods yet, and never been on a plane. So all these things were kind of racing in my mind. But when she explained to me that this trip can really move your business, and it made all the difference for her and her business when she went, because she didn't go her first year of coaching, that really like piqued my interest. And I started to think about all the coaches I would be meeting, especially on this team. And, you know, so it took a lot of thought and a lot of prayer and talking over with my husband, but we went. And this was also my first time meeting basically everyone on our team besides Tracy, because I've never been to Super Saturday before either. And the first thing that I experienced was getting to the hotel and like getting hugged by like Alicia and Jennifer and everyone that was like already at happy hour. And I was just like, this is amazing. Like, I've been talking to these ladies for weeks and months. They've seen me at 5 a.m, a hot, sweaty mess, like working out. They've seen all my silly questions in this Facebook group, and like, they're really here. They're really live people with busy lives, but with hearts for helping other people, especially these women, especially the people that they coach with. And just that night alone, like, I like got chills meeting them, and, you know, ran up to the room, got dressed, then ran over to the stadium. And then I had like another moment where I had to pause, because Lucas Oil Stadium is a football stadium. And there were about 30,000 of us, Beachbody coaches, just all in this stadium. And that's something that I can't even like explain to you over this call. You just have to be there and to experience that kind of excitement and see like all of these people are all doing the same thing. They're all working on themselves and they're helping other people get healthier. They're changing lives. And to be able to see some of the people get on that stage and share their stories, like I'm not discounting like the National Wake Up Call or anything like that. Like virtual is totally the way to go. But to be able to experience that live, like it just, I found myself getting chills, like getting teary-eyed, hearing like, and seeing like these top coaches like Danielle Natoni and Michelle Myers and like all these people that I've been following and hearing about from like Faithfully Fit Academy and National Wake Up Call, and actually seeing them get on stage and pour their hearts out into how they've evolved their business and how they want to help us. Like it's something that I've never experienced before. I've gone on business trips. I've, done corporate, but I've never really experienced that kind of emotion unless I was at some kind of religious retreat before. So it was just awesome to be able to see these people and like fangirl all over them, and also to see the trainers. Like I did the super workout in the streets of Indianapolis on Saturday morning with a bunch of coaches, and there was like I think 6,000 of us like just taking up the streets, and they had like a stage and like Sean T and like all these people that I've been streaming for weeks and months. I got to actually see on stage and like follow along, and so it was just really cool. So I just wanted to speak a little bit about that because as a first time summit attendee, that was definitely my favorite part, getting to just see people in person and to be able to share so much more about the business than they would in like a corporate setting.
So true. So true. It's so overwhelming. It really is. In a good way. Like you're just awestruck by how many people. So again, like I love the fact that we opened up this call with two women who, Kayron didn't know anyone. Amanda has only met me. And that's a big, like, I just want to pause for a minute and just, for all of you that come to Summit, it's like moving mountains to try to get there. But then to also go to Summit when you really don't know anybody, that's a whole other, beast. And that's one thing I just want to pause and mention is that there are a lot of coaches who are not lucky enough to have a team. Like we are really fortunate that we can come to Summit and have this group of women that just clicks and connects. And there are so many people that just sort of show up at Summit and go and they experience it more as an individual or with a friend. And we not only get to experience at individuals, but we get to experience it in a team, which that's just such a blessing. And it's important that we recognize that we have people on our team coming to try to make themselves better, and all of us benefit from all of the effort that goes into that. So awesome point. Thank you so much, Amanda and Kayron both. Okay. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going through these really quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of talking time on points. But it is important for you guys to know what's coming down the pipeline. I'm going to be posting, I have a really cool image that I'm going to put in Faithfully Fit Central. So don't feel like you have to write down a ton of notes about the timing, because what the image is the image is a sort of like a from here till the end of the year and what's coming when, sort of like a timetable. But coming this fall, the pumpkin spice Shakeology, the limited edition, we are going to try throwing out like limited edition flavors every now and again to see how well those do. So this will only be coming in, I think, a box of 15. I don't even have all my notes in front of me, but it's in the FAQ. That's going to be super exciting. It's coming this fall. I'm guessing we probably will be able to get our hands on it around September, right when like Starbucks comes out with their pumpkin spice lattes. So again, when you guys are going to start to go on social media, use your curiosity marketing. Don't take this image and throw it up there and be like, who wants to have some spiced, pumpkin spice latte? Use curiosity. so that you can pique interest and have conversations going on in your social media posts. Okay, Shaun T was one of the biggest highlights on Friday or Thursday night when they started announcing a lot of the announcements that Shaun T is coming out with a brand new program. This is going to be very similar to the way that we are releasing Lyft. So it will go on sale in December. People will probably have to pay the same sort of like VIP if they want early access to get it in January. And the rest of BOD will get it in April. So if you have customers that don't want to pay the $28 to unlock it, they can definitely wait until April when it's included in all of BOD. But if they want to join your challenge groups in January, it's going to be a 6-week program, 20 minutes a day, 6 days a week, no waits. And there is a ton in the back office already. So if you FAQ, you will be able to find it very easily. Also, the new Success Club rewards program. So instead of having all of these like prizes like Hollis, we're going to be talking to Rachel Hollis this month for those people who hit Success Club. And if you earn that webinar from Success Club, you get to be on this call. So they're still going to do little incentives like that, but they are adding additional things that if you go 1 month hitting Success Club, you get a hat. If you go 3 months consecutively hitting Success Club, you get some Beachbody swag. If you go 6 months hitting Success Club, you get a little travel bag, a Beachbody travel bag. So not only will we be getting these monthly rewards that basically we get for just doing our job, right? Because our job is to basically help people. So the fact that we get a monthly award, and then for the fact that we're going to be consecutive hitting Success Club, we will get these additional gifts, which was just super awesome that they're rewarding us for helping people, which is amazing. For those of you who are Shift Shop lovers, with Chris Downing, there is going to be a second launch of Shift Shop. New workouts have been added, a new workout schedule has been added. The reason that they're choosing Shift Shop is because Shift Shop came out right as like Beachbody On Demand was sort of, or the back office was sort of like getting its overview, its change. BOD was a little bit different last summer when Shift Shop was rolled out. It just was a tough time. So we're going to give Shift Shop another go. There's going to be an exclusive test group. There's going to be new challenge packs, completion packs, and all of that is going to go on sale in October. So this will be before Shaun T. So as you're thinking about your own personal transformation, just make sure that you are thinking through what you're going to do after Lift 4. So if you start Lift 4 on July 16th, that's going to take you to this particular date. Will you be doing Shift Shop and then rolling right into T25, or I'm sorry, into Shaun T's Transform 20? Are you going back to 80 days? So even if you're not going to promote Shift Shop, it's something that you can be thinking about in terms of your own health and fitness schedule as you're thinking through aligning your health and fitness routines with what launches are coming out so that they align with each other. Okay, and as we talked about, especially K-Ron in the beginning, Indianapolis, again, is where Summit is going to be. The dates are the 11th through the 14th. Tickets are on sale now. The $130 price is on sale until July 9th. It's a non-refundable ticket, so if you want a ticket that is refundable, then you buy the $180 ticket. And then the registration window is opened up today for booking your hotel. So JW Marriott is where we are staying. If there are no more rooms, don't worry. There will be some that open up. But the great thing about it is that you are basically reserving a room and you have up until a date that's in the FAQs on when you can cancel. So you're not signing your life away automatically. If the JW's already sold out. So that's okay. Like Heidi got a room at the JW a couple weeks before Summit. So the way that it works is Beachbody and JW have a certain amount of rooms that they're sort of, in like a wedding hotel block, imagine. So that's what we have. If those rooms are sold out, give it until like December, and then you can just call the JW directly and you can get your room at the JW. So not many coaches had a problem with it. If you've got a JW room through Beachbody, and the date passes that you can't cancel your hotel, then you're stuck with your hotel. And they're very good about sending an email saying, hey, Portia, you've got a room at the JW. You have until this date before, you're not going to be able to cancel it without a financial implication. And then they'll send another one, hey, just letting you know you've got 3 more days. And then you'll get another email, hey, letting you know. And plus there starts to be more chatter about that in the Facebook groups. Also, like find a roommate. Lots of people room up and bunk up with other coaches to keep the cost down and really just to help get to know each other. Or get a room and say out loud that you're bringing someone on your team and that extra bed is going to go to the coach that you're bringing. So even better. The main thing is don't wait until next July. It's 12 months away. And well, more than 12 months away. It's like 12 months and 2 weeks away. So there are 2 Super Saturdays coming up. Some of you guys have been to Super Saturdays before. The key is just getting to live events. The energy, the announcements, the pictures you're able to take, coaches that you're able to ask to come with you. Super Saturday, we've got 2 more this year, July 8th and October 20th. Mark your calendars. If you're traveling July 8th, make sure that you get to that October 20th Super Saturday, because those events are awesome. They just give you like a good energy, a lot of information to be able to just sort of run and get people excited about what's to come. So with that being said, I'm going to unshare for a second. I'm going to pause. There were not only a lot of announcements and not only a ton of recognition, but we also had some guest speakers that came and spoke to us. And Stacey's going to hit on one of those and talk to us a little bit.
JC, can I ask a quick question before?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Super Saturdays, I'm assuming those are in the Northeast? Do we know the location?
Super Saturdays are all over. So there is a link, like if you go to FAQ and you type in Super Saturday, it will take you to the link where then you can plug in your address or your zip code and it will tell you the Super Saturday closest to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Stace.
All right. Am I on mute or can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm doing it on my phone, so it all looks different and it's confusing. Okay, so I wanted to talk for just a couple of minutes about one of the keynote speakers that we had. His name was Sean Achor, A-C-H-O-R, I think. And he talked about his book, The Happiness Advantage. And part of why I wanted to talk about this was to give you a little bit of insight into what some of these big keynote speakers have to offer, because this is one of my favorite parts of Summit. And then also as a little potential personal development for you too, because I loved this guy. Okay, so he very distinctly said that happiness is not the same as pleasure. There's a very big difference. Pleasure is something that is temporary. Pleasure we have for, fleeting moments, and then we're always chasing after the next thing. It can become stagnant, and ultimately it is impossible for life to always be pleasurable. But happiness, on the other hand, is joy. It is something that you can have whether or not life is actually pleasurable. And he said that 90% of the happiness that we have is determined by how our brain processes the world around us. So we are constantly inundated by all of this input and information and stimuli, and he referred to it as being like a blizzard all around us, but our brains can really only hold on to a few of those little snowflakes from that blizzard. So if we are holding on to the negative snowflakes that are coming in, our brain just doesn't really have the resources left over to then focus on the positive. Because the negative and the positive stimuli come into the same place as our brain. So it's like the negative can actually eclipse the positive. But the good thing is we can train our brain, we can change our mindset, and we can train our brain to become to focus on the positive and to actually become happier, and that we can also encourage and support other people to do the same thing. So when we choose to be positive and to be grateful, we are giving license to others around us to do the same thing and to choose positivity and to choose gratitude. And when we do that, we start to change the ecosystem around us. So one of my favorite things that he said was that happiness is not an individual sport. Happiness is a team sport. And he talked about the mirror neurons in our brains and how when we say things like yawning is contagious and smiling is contagious, it truly is, because that comes into these mirror neurons in our brain, and our brain actually believes that we are also yawning, or we are also smiling, and we are happy, which is why we see somebody yawn and we yawn, or we see somebody smile and we smile. So those mirror neurons in our brain are, oh, there's a mess. Sorry. Those mirror neurons in our brain are literally believing that we are that input coming in, that we are happy. So we are able to actually reflect that back and pass that along to other people. And he gave a couple of examples. One was of a research study that was done in like Virginia or somewhere, where they had people stand at the bottom of a mountain and ask them to gauge how steep it was. And when people stood at the bottom of that mountain, they perceived the incline to be 20% steeper than if they were standing 3 feet away from a friend. So just being in the proximity of a friend made that hill seem less steep, or the problem seem less daunting. And then he also talked about these lightning bugs. You know how usually lightning bugs light up kind of one at a time? There was some area, we'll just say the Amazon, I don't know, where they saw these lightning bugs that would light up all together at the same time. And they found that when lightning bugs light up one at a time, like they usually do, their reproductive rate is about 3%. But when they do it all together, it goes up to 82%. So both of those examples he used to show really how we are able to influence those around us, and how simply being kind of connected and in a network and surrounded by others can help us to improve our success, our happiness, our perception of kind of how daunting the tasks around us are. So what does that mean for us? A few things. First of all, this business is not always going to be easy. It is not always going to be pleasurable. I may never recover from the tiredness I have from Summit. I'm still waiting for that moment to happen. So it was not pleasurable when my alarm went off at 4:45 yesterday morning so I could get up and do my workout and be a product of the product. That was not pleasure to me. It's not always pleasurable to do our inviting and to reach out to people that we might be afraid to talk to or whatever. That's not necessarily always pleasurable, but it is joyful, and it can make us happy because of what we are doing, because really we are in the business of spreading happiness. That's what we do. I mean, we are part of a company whose mission is to help people achieve their goals by leading healthy and fulfilling lives. Like, how many people get to say that about the company that they work for? So we get to spread this to other people, and then that in turn comes back to us. So we are encouraging them to exercise, to focus on their nutrition, to do personal development, to get sleep, to do all of these things that are bringing happiness into their lives. But we are also spreading social connectedness to them. And he had mentioned that social connection is the greatest predictor of happiness, and that your social connection is as predictive to how long you will live as hypertension, diabetes, and obesity are. So all of these things are important. Maybe our challengers are going to fall off nutrition-wise or exercise-wise or whatever the case may be, but ultimately what we are giving them in that support and that social connection is the greatest predictor of their happiness. So just keeping that in mind as well, I think is pretty powerful for us as coaches. And then also knowing that we have that social connection within one another, and in this team that we have. And he said that success doesn't lead to happiness, but happiness leads to success. And just as a personal aside, for about, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks or so, there was a small group of us, Juliet and Elise and Ange and Trisha, and we had a Vox chain going, and we were supporting each other and encouraging one another. And once we started that, within whatever it was, 4 weeks, 6 weeks or so, I was able to grow my business in a way I haven't been able to do in the last year. So that connection that we have, the teamwork that we have, lean into it and rely on one another and get on these Zoom calls and go to these events and do everything you can to keep yourself connected, because that connectedness matters. So then last thing, what can we actually do practically to change our mindset and to focus on happiness? He talked about a 2-minute happiness hygiene habit. And for 21 days, every day, to write down 3 things that you were grateful for and why. And the why was the really important key there. Because it's easy to say, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for this food, I'm grateful for, my health, whatever. But to actually break it down into little things that you are grateful for and why you are grateful for them, and to do that for 21 days. And see how much your level of happiness or your joy grew. So I thought that was something that was pretty cool that we as coaches could do, as well as something that we could also pass along to all of our challengers. So I think I summed up about a 90-minute talk in as close to 7 or 8 minutes as I could get.
You did great. And that's a really great thing that you can incorporate in challenge groups too, is the whole gratitude piece of it. And it gets really hot around October, November. Everyone's doing gratitude challenge groups. But I love what he talked about. There's so many little good nuggets in there, and it just goes to show so much about mindset and about linking arms.
Agreed.
Awesome. Good job. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Alicia. I'm going to pull up her little slide that she has. And then I will close this out, you guys. We've got 2 more chunks to talk about, and we'll go from there. Let's see. Can you all see the PowerPoint? Yay? Okay. Floor is yours. Is she there?
I was muted. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Oh, now we got you. Hi.
Hi. Hey, I love the picture. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Heidi also mentioned she wanted to say something. I don't know if she's still there, but I don't want to mess up your flow. I just saw it in the comments.
Oh, I can't see when I'm doing a PowerPoint. Go for it, Heidi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, my connection's really bad. No, I just wanted to share with you guys one thing that in going to Summit, this is my 3rd Summit, and every Summit feels totally different. And you're in different phases of your life, and each time that that you go to Summit, I think that's what also can impact, your experience, different phases of your business. And the only thing I wanted to say, that was very different, I felt, in this one versus personally from other ones. And Tracy mentioned a little bit, and I posted a little bit about it in our group, is gratitude. And the reason why I say that is because when Tracy mentioned in the beginning that, there are a lot of people, you don't realize it, but there are a lot of people out there as coaches who literally do not have a team. And not only do they not have a team, but they also don't have an upline coach that actually works the business. So one of the things I wanted to just make sure that I say is that, going through moments of this business in 3.5, almost 4 years, there were times where I would sit there and say, like, okay, like, do I have any more energy left for me to keep coaching, keep bringing on coaches, keep developing, so on and so forth. And it always came back to the personal development that I've gotten through Beachbody and the community. And a big part of that community is Summit. Like, you see it and you feel it and you experience it at Summit. But what changes it is when you have a team of people that you're doing it with while you're there. So I know a lot of people look at right now the ticket, let's say it's $130 or $180, the hotel, the flight. And I will just share with you right now that remember that all of this training that you're getting is free. It's free. Faithfully Fit Academy is free. These Zoom calls are free. Every single YouTube video you see, all the live videos that all of us do, like all of that is free. So it's shocking to me that we actually don't have to invest much in this business to get what we want out of it. And so if this is one of the, of the investments that you make, and let's just say you spend, I don't know, $800, $1,000, whatever it is 100% worth it, because you will end up looking back and reflecting back on this experience for months and months, even years. And I'll end it with this. We had a dinner, a team dinner, and the coaches, Tracy asked the coaches of the month that have happened so far this year to get up and talk about just how coaching has impacted us. And you would be blown away at the stories that were told. When it comes to not just health, but friendships, marriages improving, as a parent, that improving, like every aspect of people's lives. And I just don't think people understand the depth of what we get from coaching. So I just wanted to share that with you. I could talk for an hour about the experience, but for a lot of the new coaches who haven't been, or maybe you've been before and you didn't go this year, or whatever the scenario may be, I just wanted to make sure that you saw this as, one, grateful that we have this team. Two, it's an investment that you will get your money back tenfold. And that we are just a very lucky team to have the support that we have. So that is all I wanted to say. Thanks for letting me talk.
Yes, thanks for popping in. I agree. Echo, echo. All right, Alicia.
So now I feel like a total loser with this PowerPoint, and I can't see anybody's faces, and I need like head nods to know that I'm making sense. So if you guys want to jot stuff down, awesome. Tracy, do you mind switching it back to gallery view?
Sure. No problem. Is that better?
It also helps me. Yes, it also helps me with my RBF and smiling and being happy, because we know I'm in treatment. So I'm gonna stick to 6-7 minutes. I'm super passionate about this topic, and I've told Tracy one of my big audacious goals is to be on a national wake up call someday. And I hope that, relax, Elise, I'm a triangle and I'm proud of it. So anyway, I come from a sales background. So much of my sales background just transfers to this business, but in such a better way, because like a lot of people have said, just how we're impacting people. So I'm super excited about it, super passionate about it. I do want to speak really high level, and I welcome any follow-up. I felt like a guest speaker with Juliet's team and just rambled for like 7 minutes about one of these topics. So quick background, before I was in the same office that Tracy was, in the same field, I was selling products and promotional packages door to door, like business to business, commission only, soliciting, like had, no soliciting signs. That's for people like me. It was Groupon before Groupon was out. So I was offering these packages. And if you can imagine, I'm, 22 walking around the streets trying to sell these things. I was getting told no all the time. And so I learned very quickly about something called the law of averages, which is a very generic sales term, and everyone and probably every industry has their own law of averages. But essentially it's how many people you have to speak to result in whatever success looks like for a sale, for a transaction, whatever. So for me, my goal was to sell 10 to 20 of these promotional packages every day. And I knew that it would take me about 200 people to do that. So before I even left for work that day, I knew I was going to hear people tell me no 180 times, which is, it's a lot. Like when I go back and look at it, I talk about it very casually. Like that's hard to hear no 180 times unless you're expecting it. Right now, I would love if all 200 people said yes. I probably wouldn't be on this call right now because I'd be retired somewhere if I was that successful at my job. But I knew that I had to talk to 200 people just to get those 10 to 20 yeses. And so when I think a lot about this business, you think about, all right, if I want to hit Success Club and I want 3 people to say yes or 5 people to say yes, how many people is that for you? And your law of averages can shift. I think it's fair to say that if Tracy or Heidi or another tenured coach on our team asked 50 people to join a challenge group, they may have better success than someone brand new. I think that's fair. They've had more practice. They can handle objections a little bit better. They probably have a bigger footprint, you know, in their social media space. But Tracy doesn't hear yes every time either. And one of the things I'll say, Tracy, that you shared with us at the lunch we had was you sent out invites and you saw those responses, and in your gut, it was like, oh, what if they say no? Like, it still sucks hearing no, but I think if we can just shift our mindset a little bit to expect that we're going to have to hear no in order to hear yes. When we hear no, it's like, okay, cool. You just like check off. Like, I literally would walk around with a business card and check off every time I heard a no. And I was just as happy to hear no's than as I was yeses, because I knew that that was just part of the day. And so it kind of shifts to the second bullet that I had there was around inputs versus outputs. So I think if you look at your success club number, whatever it is at this day, whether it's 10, whether it's 0, whether it's 30, if you focus on that output, your inputs are always skewed. So for example, I'm at Success Club 8 right now. I know I need one more. If I'm operating like I need one more versus 20 more, or if I'm at Success Club 20 and I'm like, I'm good, I'm chilling, like my inputs are going to shift. So you always have to focus on the inputs regardless of where the output is, especially for our business, because we've got like such a delayed gratification. We might talk to somebody for 6, 12, 18 months. I'm sure there's people that Tracy is still talking to that have never said yes, but she's still talking to them because at some point, law of averages says that eventually they'll start to be curious and they'll ask questions, and whatever they said no to hasn't worked maybe the way they wanted. And so now they're, you know, she's still coming around that follow-up. Your reaction to no's is really, really, really important, and people can feel it. So maybe it's a little easier to hide behind a Facebook message if you're typing it, or, you know, a post maybe, or a text message back, but you need to not be so affected, like actually affected, and then have these nonverbals when you hear a no. So if someone says, yeah, I'm not that interested, or if they say something and you, out of almost desperation, try to sell them versus just saying, hey, you know what? Totally get it. I appreciate the feedback. Hope you have an awesome weekend. I'll check back in a couple months, or something like that. You need to let that person on the other end know that their no is kind of no big deal for you, because I think it hurts your kind of reputation as a coach to someone who is still figuring out whether you're good at your job or not, right? And do they want to work with you or not? And if someone tells me no and I'm like, okay, you know, or I'm like all defensive or sound desperate, like, I don't know if that does a good job for my branding or the branding that I'm trying to create with each person. So just be really mindful. I think logically or conceptually, you all might go, yeah, that makes sense. I just got to talk to X amount of people and I'm going to get this many yeses eventually. But it does sting when you get those no's. And if you let those no's affect how you're coming across to people, I think that could be a turnoff, which is obviously not the goal that any of us want. Heidi hit on it a little bit just now about training and about our business, but does anyone here know anyone that has ever started their own business or ever like bought into a franchise? Like, there's like a lot of money involved in that.
Yeah.
Heidi, are you back in, girl? Heidi's in. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm thinking about my husband with 20 years of running his own business with 0 training, 0 support, 0 tech support, 0 HR, 0 anything, totally by himself. And it's crazy how much you have to learn with nothing.
Yeah, I think it's that really goes unnoticed, I think, as we think about, again, everyone's got different reasons for what we're doing and why we're sitting on this call at this time and why we at one point said, yes, this makes sense to explore. But if you think about it, like if you open a McDonald's, I mean, I feel like you have to pay $5 million just to show up and then put all that effort in, right? Or you take loans, or you're getting money from investors. Like, we pay $15.95 and have to buy shakes, which we're going to consume. Like, and be a product with a product and stay. Like, when you really think about what it costs us to operate this business, it's wild. And I don't know that we treat it like that, because what's really cool is that the upside is as good as any business, but it provides the flexibility that a lot of us are looking for. But you can't expect, and I had a conversation with Heidi about this on the last night, like, you can't put in 3 hours a week and expect 60-hour-a-week results. And maybe all you have is 3 hours, which is fine. That's all I had for a long time. And I still don't have a full 40 hours to give. But I have to be honest with myself about my expectations around goal setting, income, rank advancement, how big my team's going to be. I have only invited maybe like 2 or 3 people, honestly, to be a coach with me in the almost 2 years I've been doing it, because I was a little restricted in how I was able to build a team. So I really can't look around and be shocked that I'm not a 5-star diamond. How would I be? I can't, right? But I think if I were to set goals that were equivalent with my input and had faith in those inputs, I'd be pretty excited to see. There's a term that's been used with a lot of startups, which is kind of like what we're all doing. Is we've got this startup right now that we're cultivating, but we've got this big backing of this infrastructure and this back office and this shipping and receiving and customer service. I mean, it really is wild when you think about it. We have to put in sweat equity. Like, we legitimately have sweat. Like, there's sweat coming off of our bodies. Like, the smell that's in our room when we're being a product of the product is like, nobody wants to be around that, right? But you have to put in this work before you can capitalize on the results. And so I really treated this like a business meeting, and I'm setting business goals and success goals, but I have to be honest about what I'm willing to do to get there. And for me and for a lot of us on this team, we've got to put ourselves out there more. We've got to invite more. We have to share. I actually started just today leading with the business opportunity, which I've never done before. Like, I'm talking about coaching, and then they're like, I don't really know. I'm like, cool. Would you ever want to join a challenge group? And I've got 3 links out. I like started here and talked about this versus like kind of talking about a challenge group maybe. And then eventually I would talk to them about coaching once they were in a group and they like Shakeology. Like, I'm looking at myself and I was feeling stuck. So those are the topics I wanted to talk about. I think, again, like, all of us, Stacey, Amanda, Kay, Heidi, we could all talk for the entire call about any of these topics. But the last bullet I have on there is like, what now, or now what? And I've got N-O. I don't know if you saw like the fancy play on the spelling of now. But I'm actually going to ask all of you, and I know who's on this call because I wrote everyone's name down. I want you all to email me or message me or text or Vox or whatever, one thing that you're going to do differently around your mindset, around like raising the bar for yourself, around, again, the expectations around inputs versus outputs. Just one thing that you can do differently between now and, so now you have till Friday, but I will be following up on Saturday morning if I don't hear from you. Just something that you think you could do differently to approach this from a business standpoint, maybe a little differently than you have before. That's it.
I love it. Throwing out the call to action at the end. That is awesome. And it ties into exactly what I want to talk about in terms of our team. So one thing that I don't think I do a good enough job at is really articulating the importance of how everything every single one of us does on this Zoom call right now impacts our team. It impacts the greater team. It impacts your team. It impacts your future team. It impacts so much. And so I think it's really clear that I go through, I wrote down some goals that are team goals. And I think it's important that we end with everyone knowing that, but also you just walking away with understanding the importance of being connected with your personally sponsored coach and your team. And let's start off by, like, our goal, for those of you that don't come from the corporate America world, we use the term called BHAG. It's called Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. That's like the big mama. So it is no fun being on stage at Summit by yourself. And one of the goals that I'm going to get to, I'm actually going to start off with that goal here, is these are the 4 girls, the 4 of us from Team Faithfully Fit that walked the stage on, there's many different times that we have recognition, but Dina walked it twice, Heidi walked the stage, Juliet walked the stage, and that's awesome. But how amazing to like walk the stage holding hands with a coach that you have just built your team with. And so hands down, I want to see double the amount of stage walkers. At least 8 people from Faithfully Fit walk the stage next year. And maybe recognition is your love language. Like for me, walking the stage does not like light my whistle. It's not my love language. I would much rather have a one-on-one conversation with you and you tell me that I've impacted your life. That means more to me than walking the stage. But what is cool is for people on your team to see you walk the stage so that they can visualize themselves walking the stage. That's why it's important. And so Success Club 10 Legends, that means if you've hit Success Club 10 consecutively for 24 months, they walk the stage. New 1 to 15 star diamonds walk the stage, which means you have to hit your new rank goal by like May. Elite coaches, I don't think I wrote this down, premier coaches, so that's 2-star diamonds that get the same amount of elite points that a 5-star does. So there's opportunities to walk the stage. If walking the stage is something that you want to do, guess what? You got to tell your coach, right? So like as I'm writing out my goals, there were definitely, and I write my goals, I do a pretty good job keeping tabs of them. And there's sometimes where I'm like, you know what? I'm assuming that this person wants to walk the stage, or I'm assuming that this person doesn't want to take her business to the next level sometimes, which means constant conversations with our team and really having those discussions so that we're clear. And then I want to triple the amount of coaches that got floor seats. So if you are Success Club All-Star, if you're Success Club Legend, 1 to 4-star, 5 to 15, Elite or Premier, you have a seat down on the floor at Summit, which if you imagine a huge football stadium, my very first Summit, I was up in the stadium, and then Kelly, my upline coach, invited me to sit in her Premier seat with her. And I was like, I said out loud, I will never again not be on this floor. I am going to be on this floor every other time I go to Summit because I wanted to be up close. I wanted to see it all. That was important for me to be in the community of just the coaches who are really, really hustling to put their business on the map. And so that was a goal that I set out loud. And since that very first Summit, I have always been on the floor. I went for floor for my second, my third, and just now my 4th Summit, I was on the floor. So not only is it important that you sort of figure out what your personal goals are and communicating with the team, but there is power in saying your goals out loud. So that is huge. 6 coaches at the New Leader Conference in LA. That conference is February 8th through the 10th. You must be a 1-star diamond coach by the end of the year. If you've been a 1-star diamond coach in the past, maybe not this calendar year, you've got to hold it again for another 6 weeks. And then you also have to hit it at least once in December. But here's what you guys may not know. The New Leader Conference, you have the opportunity to earn your hotel room. So Dina and Juliet both earned their hotel room. You also have the opportunity to earn travel cash based on elite points. The FAQ is 4663. This is not the call to get into it, but think about this. Like, why not you? If you want to grow your business, if you're sitting now as a coach or as an Emerald coach, I promise you, if you put a plan together to be a 1-star diamond in the next 7 months of the year, you can do it. I promise you can do it. And again, this isn't the call to go over, but it was the New Leader Conference where I came back that year and said, I'm changing my business. And I went from 2-star to 5-star in about 4 months' time because of the takeaways that I got from that New Leader Conference. It's huge. So we had 2 coaches go this year. Next year, would love to see 6 coaches at that New Leader Conference. So if that's something that's a goal of yours, tell your coach, definitely. If you are running a team and you see a coach in your downline that you think should be there, talk to that coach. You need to be there because X, Y, Z, and get a plan together, because sometimes brand new coaches need to borrow belief from their upline coaches. So I love that Alicia all weekend long kept throwing out the fact that she's going to be on a national wake-up call. And then she even went as far as like talking about like what her topics were going to be. Like, here's, maybe that'll be my topic. Maybe this will be my topic. Again, there's so much power in speaking things out loud. And so one thing for Team Faithfully Fit is I want 2 coaches from Team Faithfully Fit on that national wake-up call within the next year. No doubt in my mind it'll be Alicia. She is hell-bent on that. But there are definitely other rising stars, and you don't have to be a star diamond to be on the national wake-up call. There are plenty of emerald coaches and brand new diamond coaches that have been on the call to share so that newer coaches can relate to them. So again, if that's a goal for you, put it out there, because there's a lot of great teachers on this team. The other thing that I wanted to throw out there is that I want to, as I was sitting there watching some of the workshops and some of the teachers, some had a ton of value, some not so much. And one thing that's important to me is that if you guys are going to spend time listening to us on a call, it's important to me that you walk away with some sort of value. So I'm throwing it out there. I'm getting on that stage next year. I'm going to teach in some sort of capacity, whether it's a panel, whether it's a teeny tiny baby small group. It doesn't matter, but it's important that I feel like we have representation of teaching what's working well for our team, because there's a lot of coaches on our team that are doing it right. Amazing, amazing, amazing. We had 17 coaches at Summit this year. I would say that the takeaways and the time that we spent together was better than any Summit. And I want to talk about the fact that there's always quality over quantity, because the year before we actually had more coaches. I want to say we had 5 more coaches the year before. So when we throw out numbers, it's not necessarily the amount of people we have, but it's what's happening within the team. And there was just some amazing conversations that took place as a team that I loved so much. But I would love to see if each 17 people that were at Summit bring 3. That brings our number to 51. So I'm throwing out 50 coaches from Team Faithfully Fit at Summit next year. I think would be an awesome group. And then what I would love to see is more and more break-offs of dinners. So we have a big team dinner. We've done it for the last 3 years, because my very first year as a coach, I went by myself and bunked up with my upline, but was all by myself, didn't even have my name, Team Faithfully Fit. Did not have that name until my second year when I went to Summit. And so since that year, we've done this team dinner. It's always my favorite night. And what made this past team dinner really special is we had this private room, and I asked all of the coaches who have been Coach of the Month to come up and share something about how this business has impacted them. And so it was really cool to hear perspective. We started off with Brandy, then Juliet, then Dina, then Alicia, then Heidi. We went in the exact order that these coaches were voted in as Coach of the Month. And it was my very favorite, one of my very favorite things was to hear all 5 of them talk about how their lives have been changed. It was amazing. Tons of takeaways from that time. So how can you qualify as being one of the next coaches who is speaking at a team dinner? Or even better yet, I would love to see these 5 girls breaking off and doing their own team lunch or their own team brunch or their own night out with their coaches, because that's really where leaders are built. And I have such a passion for building leaders. So we still have another 6 months of this year. We've got the 6 coaches that have already hit it, and we've got another 6 months that take us to July. So 18 coaches. How do you qualify? Assert yourself as a leader. Act like a blank diamond coach. When we had our diamond lunch, I did a first time diamond luncheon, and it was just the diamond coaches came to lunch, and it was really good, like like really good collaboration and conversation. And one thing that struck me was someone asked Heidi something, and Heidi said, I'm thinking like a 5-star diamond, right? I think like one. And that sort of touches on like what Alicia just said, right? Like when you're asking challengers to be in their challenge group and they're like, no, are you taking that like you're a 10-star diamond coach or a 3-star diamond coach or a 1-star diamond coach, or are you acting like you need that person's business more than anything, right? You have to act like what you want to be and see yourself in as the future, because that visualization is so important for your goals. Run your own team calls. I cannot tell you how many calls, even up until last summer, I would log on all by myself. So many coaching opportunity calls. I would log on all by myself. And guess what? I recorded the call. I pretended like they were people on. I uploaded that video onto my YouTube channel, and I used that as an opportunity to build my library of what I could offer coaches. Instead of being like, I suck, no one showed up, this business isn't going anywhere, my team's not doing anything. I was like, okay, this sort of sucks, but we're going to roll with it. Hey, welcome you guys. I'm so glad you're here. I mean, I faked it till I made it. So run your own team calls. It doesn't matter if you have one person on or 100 people on. I promise you will definitely assert yourself as a leader. Mentor your downline, show up no matter what, and remember that 90% of this business is your mindset. If you're a negative Nelly, if you're always looking for the negative, if you don't have any gratitude, if you're always wishing that you could have this or you want that coach instead of this coach, if you have that mentality, that like scarcity mentality, no bueno. You've got to have the abundant mentality in order to crush your goals, you guys. Okay, this bottom picture is our diamond lunch. I'm so sorry, Stacey, I cut your head off. Tracy T's on vacation. PowerPoint ain't my thing. And I didn't want to spend time working on it. So we gotta, we gotta work on and stay in our wheelhouse. 18 people at that diamond lunch. That diamond lunch was 7 of us. It was lifetime diamond coaches. It was coaches who are obviously setting goals to run their business. And one of the coolest thing is that we talked a lot about, it's great to have a fire at Summit, but how do we keep that fire going? And then what are the goals that we have for our teams? And I had each of them go around the table and say the goals out loud. And I encourage you guys to do the same. Say your goals out loud. I've said that so many times. It is so important. But it's throwing it out there and letting your coach know. So we want to double the amount of women at the upcoming retreat. We'll do a star diamond retreat. We'll have star diamonds come in a day early. Diamonds will come in a day after. Double the amount. So we're looking at like, I don't know, let's have 20 there. 18 coaches there, I guess I already put, and then 18 coaches at the Diamonds Luncheon at Summit. We'll do another one, which is very celebratory. We did talk a lot about business, but it was really a bonding, cool moment. And I'm going to go back to this page. This is the last page that I've got on goals. So the BHAG is to be a 10-star diamond team. So what does this mean? Like, how can you impact that? If you're a diamond, if you're a future diamond, if you're a fallen diamond, talk to your personally sponsored coach, right? Because if you're a diamond and you drop from diamond and you're kind of like, that sucks, I'll get back to it, but you're not having a conversation with your personally sponsored coach, your personally sponsored coach might be setting star diamond goals for the team, and your coach might need to know whether you want to get back to diamond or not. They might be assuming you want to get back to diamond. You might not have any desire to, or you might be someone that like really wants to get back to diamond, but you don't know how, but you're not asking for help. So it's super important. We all impact each other's goals. So lock arms, talk to your coach about your goals. And if you have a team, it's your job to be asking your people, hey, how can I get you to what your goal is? How can we work together in order for that to happen? 3-time elite team. You guys, this is important because what does it mean for you? It means elite teams are growing teams. If you're part of an elite team, it is a huge selling point when you're recruiting coaches because we have more training, we have more calls, we have more attraction marketing, we have more exposure to corporate. Just last summer, a guy from corporate, Kevin Shaw, who is now doing training with Kim Carver, he came down and was like, Tracy, here's a Google Doc I'll take any diamond or above that wants to meet with me. Who wants to come meet with me? Because elite teams get that. Sometimes we'll get people that come down and they'll do like an emerald training. Hey, elite coaches, who do you have that's emerald that wants some training for the day? So that elite status is a team status, and it benefits all of us because we've got that as a selling tool. Growing teams also create more residual incomes. So how can you help? Your overall volume helps. Advancing on the leadership ladder helps. New diamond rank advancements help. 1 to 5 star rank advancements really help. Hitting Success Club every month helps. Inviting coaches to grow your team and sharing your goals with your coaches and your personally sponsored coaches and your upline coach is huge. So those are the goals. 10 star, 3-time elite, double the amount of stage walkers, triple the amount of coaches on the floor next year, 6 brand new coaches at the New Leader Conference in LA, teaching at Summit, 2 girls on the National Wake Up Call, 50 coaches at Summit next year, 18 coaches of the month total that are speaking at our dinners and that are doing break-off dinners, doubling the amount of women at our retreats and at our Diamond Luncheon at Summit. And here's what our mission is, you guys. Our mission, and you are more than welcome to come up with your own mission that breaks off from this team. But Faithfully Fit, the mission is to help women understand the way that they were uniquely created so they can use their gifts to shine brightly in a world with a light that only belongs to them. And that has been like the clear vision I've had for this team for the past 2 years, is that it's our jobs to, one, understand ourselves, to know what our gifts are and how we can use those gifts to bless other people. And then it's our responsibility to help others understand what their gifts are so they can go shine their unique light out into the world. That's it. And when women feel empowered to do that, that's when magic happens and when lives are changed. And so the vision that I see for this team is that one by one, each member, and that's one by one, I don't care how long it takes, each member of our team will understand her significance and value in the world and will be inspired to lead others to know the same truth about themselves too. And so that's what our team shirt was. It was Faithfully Fit Over Fear, because when we are believing truth and not listening to lies, that means that we're in a good, healthy place of really being in tune with what makes us special. And then we're in tune to go bless other people's lives the best we can. So that's all I've got. The last thing I wanted to just throw out there, you guys, is that there is a Faithfully Fit Summertime Sweat Box. It is a 30-day accountability group. If you missed that in Faithfully Fit Central, today the call to action was like, hey, name one thing that's going to change about your mindset and the 3 people that you've invited to something. And it's just a way to keep you engaged in business building activities as we get into the summer, which is sometimes a little bit different than a normal fall, spring, or winter routine. So if you're not in that group, talk to your personally sponsored coach about getting in that group so that you don't miss anything and you're able to stay accountable to the actions that are going to move your business forward. So that's all I've got. I'm sorry that this call went over a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that everybody was heard. Are there any questions before we sign off? Good? Okay, you guys are rock stars. So good to see so many faces on this call. You guys, hold on, one call. Everybody smile. Ready? Love it. Okay, you guys, that's a wrap. Have a good one. Bye.